listening to Sports Talk 916 with Greg Bull and Coach Greg Veroza.
If you'd like to participate in the show, there are a couple of ways to do it. If you want to contact us on Twitter, use the show's Twitter address, which is @SportsTalk916. For Greg B, go to @MrChief916. And for me, Coach Greg, it's @Greg Veroza. And Veroza is VAROZZA. And if you want to chat live with us, the best place to go is go to the Mixlr page and hit chat. There you'll see all of us chatting together as the show goes on. Hello. Once again, I'm here. I was here last week, but I just had my mic off. I was being stupid. That was actually pretty dumb, but kind of funny. My name is Coach Greg Veroza. Over there is my buddy, Mr. Chief, Greg Bull.
What's up?
And together we are the two-headed monsters of Greg. You fucked that up last week too, by the way. You butchered that whole thing.
I was the one-headed monster of Greg last week. I was distraught that you quit the show, so fuck you.
This is season 5, episode 10. I can almost count all those fingers.
You're all 42. What?
And this is Sports Talk 916. Welcome. First off, I want everybody to know that I'm making my payment here. I was pleasantly reminded that I owed a bacon, caramel, chocolate milkshake, and I think I have a
Straw, yeah, right there.
straw. There you go. That's for the first quarter of the season that I owe you.
So what flavor is this?
Chocolate caramel bacon.
Good lord.
Chocolate salted caramel bacon.
So long diet.
Yeah, well, you go run a...
Holy crap.
Not good.
Oh my god. All right, guys, show's over. I can't do it with a boner.
Mouthgasm right there.
Right.
That is pretty good.
So how's it going, bud?
Not bad. It was a fun weekend. Had a swim meet all weekend. Best part was my one swimmer that swam in the afternoon session didn't show up. She decided to stay home, so I got to go leave early.
And it was indoor, right?
Yeah, it was indoors, so...
Can't beat that.
No. So I got to go home and watch most of the football games, which I didn't think I was going to get to do, which was pretty cool.
And let Andrew Siciliano put you to sleep?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to watch the end of that spectacular, one of the best games of all time in the snow by your San Francisco 49ers, those pieces of shit.
I will say this. I don't care who's playing. I love watching snowy games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when they kept switching back to the Packers, the Packers game and the Bears game, and I'm like, ooh, both games are snowy. And then I'm like, oh, no shit. They're like a rock's throw away from each other, dumbass. Like,
right.
But that was cool. Yeah, the Niners fucking wet the bed hard.
Yeah, I kind of went off a little bit on Facebook today with a couple of...
We'll get to that. We will definitely get to that. Tonight we have a big show, or full show. We'll let you decide how big it is. Kings talk. So far, road trip's off to a rough start. They played the Knicks today. December 15th, we'll talk about the significance of that. We'll talk about the Giants. Winter meetings open tomorrow. Last year, they were a little bit sleepy at winter meetings. This year, it's expected to be a little bit different.
Are you hashtag Mr. Chief?
I'm at Mr. Chief 916.
Right. Oh, okay. That's why I'm not doing it right.
Then we're going to do a little bingo or bullshit. We'll do some 49er talk. We're going to talk about what's next for the 49ers, what we think should be next for the 49ers. We're going to talk...
I got an interesting take on that too, by the way.
We're going to talk about the amazing Raiders. Okay, so I turned out the Raiders game about third quarter. I think they were down 24-7. Maybe it was 24-10. And I came back in the fourth quarter. They were up by 14.
Yeah, I kind of fell asleep when they were down by a couple of points, and
it was crazy. And then we'll do headlines and we'll wrap it up with some WWE talk because I know Greg loves that. And score. Bellingham Niners fan says, "Fire Chip. You're gonna stick around." But first,
we had this discussion this afternoon already.
So before we get to that, let's do a little bill paying, and then we'll talk about your Sacramento Kings.
If you or anyone you know is thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, they deserve to have someone working with them that not only knows what they're doing, but will explain everything that happens along the way. That person would be me, Coach Greg Veroza of Keller Williams Realty. I have two goals. My first goal is to coach you through the buying and selling process, making it easy to understand and as stress-free as possible, which isn't easy sometimes. My second goal is to have fun doing it. Come be a part of my team. Let me coach you or anyone you know through the real estate process. Give me a call at 916-241-8068, and let's talk about how I can coach you through the real estate process. Let me ask you one question. Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that I should know right now? Again, that's Greg Veroza, Keller Williams Realty, 916-241-8068.
Hey guys, as you may know, I recently purchased my home with the help of Greg Veroza from Keller Williams Realty. There's a lot of work that goes into just finding the right home, a lot of back-end stuff that needs to be done, and most of it is circled around finding the proper funding to purchase your home. For that, I went to Albert Chavez of Summit Funding. Albert's actually here with me to explain a little bit of the process and explain what you need to do in order to be ready to buy that dream home.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Yeah. One of the misconceptions of our business is, after I find a home, then what? What you should do, my biggest advice is to talk to a lender in person. What that's going to do is going to allow you to look at all your financing options. The financing mechanism is the biggest part of these loans and of this process. And what you want to do is sit down with someone, have them go over all the information. It's pretty frustrating. It's pretty overwhelming. So by doing that, you're going to bring your tax returns, your W-2s, your pay stubs, your bank statements, and you're going to have me, go over them and just make sure you're totally qualified before you go out and purchase a home. It's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of frustration. At the same time, you're going to be more familiar with the process, and you're going to enjoy the process. So yeah, sit down with someone in person, have them go over all the paperwork, and you'll be in the clear. So if you want any advice and expertise, you can call me back at 916-230-1537. That's 916-230-1537, and I'll be here to help you.
Hey, this is Scott Fresh, the MC for the world's loudest arena. And now, back to Sports Talk 916.
Well, I like that drop that does. Hey, this is Scott Fresh, and I'm here.
All right, so let's talk about Sacramento Kings.
Okay, that's it. Thanks.
So we talked about the big road trip they were on, that they needed to come out strong.
They did.
They started out strong, looked good. Second game looked okay. Got rained out. Oh, they got condensationed out in Philly. Mm-hmm.
Which probably saved us from having to wear Philly gear,
right, until January at least.
Have they decided a makeup date on that?
Not yet, but can you imagine? So you saw the clips of DeMarcus mopping the floor, right, just having a good time. Can you imagine if DeMarcus would have slipped and broke his ankle while he was mopping the floor before the game started?
Did you read all the stupid posts that, well, if you had enough energy to mop the floor, you should be back on defense more? Stupid. People are idiots.
So Mike says, what's up with the floor in Wells Fargo Center? Now there's a possibility that Kings might have an 8-game road trip in January. So yeah, there's talks that January 30th will be our makeup date because they'll be on the East Coast. It'll be an 8-game trip with another back-to-back for the Kings because they have the most of those in the league. Mike, if you're not aware of what happened on the floor, whoever's listening isn't aware of what happened on the floor, basically there was a duck that shit on the floor. No, so what happened was the Flyers had a game earlier in that day. Or the night before.
Night before.
So they basically just put the Sixers court over the ice. Standard procedure in all, multi-use stadiums. The problem was Philly had abnormally high temperatures that day. Right. So they didn't lower the air conditioner enough, basically. And what happened was when the outside temperature is combined with the doors being open and letting in 18,000 people, the temperature needs to be at a certain level for the ice to not melt. And because they didn't calculate the fact that it was going to be warmer outside, you bring in people, it got even more warmer, and the ice couldn't stay frozen. So it started melting and condensation started coming up through the cracks of the floor. Therefore, it started puddling, not safe for basketball, game canceled. So it was crazy. It's unfortunate, but like Greg said, it probably saved myself and him from having to wear Phillies gear or Sixers gear. Embiid probably would have went off. You know, it would have been.
And it just adds to the joke that are the Sacramento Kings. You know, just stupid stuff just happens to them all the time.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So they opened the the road trip in Brooklyn, 122-105 over Brooklyn. They look good. Went to Washington.
Well, wait a minute. They were down big to Brooklyn for a while. They started off and they were down by weren't they down by 20 at a point?
At a point, yeah.
Yeah.
So they came back and won. It was a good game. Against Washington, should have won that game. Had it in the bag. Overtime, they just went flat. Couldn't make a shot to save their life. The game should have never made it to overtime in the first place. Lost that game 105-101. Oh, I'm sorry, 101-95. Philly postponed, as we mentioned. Went to Boston. Had a good game again. Again, probably a game they shouldn't have lost. They had a couple flat spots, and it ultimately cost them. And then tonight, 106-98 lost in Madison Square Garden.
Down by 21 early again.
Yeah, and they start out flat again. You know, I'm to the point now where you know, I've talked about how the Kings need to trade DeMarcus. They need to trade Rudy. DeMarcus came out, you know, and they asked them a couple, you know, right before the Washington game, they asked him about some things, and he said, you know, hopefully one of these days we can get John Wall in a Sacramento Kings uniform. And so he's thinking about the future in Sacramento, because they asked him, would you ever consider teaming up with John Wall? And he said, yeah, I'm going to bring him to Sacramento. And then Jason Jones had him a couple nights later when they were doing some charity work and asked him about, you know, how do you feel about the trade rumors and all this other stuff? And he says, it doesn't bother me. He says, it tells me that other teams are interested in me. It tells me I'm doing my job right. He said, I don't care. I'm a King. It doesn't bother me. I just brush it off. So I'm starting to think that all the loyalty is love stuff he talks about and stuff, he may not want to leave Sacramento. I think he has vested enough time and money and sacrifice here that I think he wants to turn it around.
Yeah.
So December 15th is when players who signed a contract this offseason are officially available for trade. I say you make every single person on the roster except for DeMarcus Cousins available for trade.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
You don't take calls on DeMarcus unless it's for a bona fide superstar.
Right.
And you open the floodgates. Everyone gone.
You have to. I was listening to Bobby Jackson on the way over here, and he made a really good point. He said basically there's 2.5 legitimate NBA players on that team, or NBA players performing at an NBA level. And basically it was Rudy, DeMarcus, and whenever Barnes gets in and plays, because he's not playing full time. The rest, they're underachieving. And this is a group of underachievers. And that was sick.
I love this thing. It's so good.
You know, and again, we're right back to where we started, right back to where we're always at. You know, we're underachieving. We're on the path for 25 wins.
You think we're on the path for 25 wins?
Maybe.
I don't see us on the path for 25 wins. What do we have, 7 right now?
That's true, huh?
25 is going to be hard to come by. I mean, I think we're only 25 games into. I think we're only like 25 games into the season, but I just don't think 25 wins is there.
Wow. Now remember we were laughing at some of the.
We're 20 games in. We're 7-13 right now.
Remember we were laughing at some of the guys that were making predictions at the beginning of the year, and they said
40, 42.
But then a couple of the national guys came out and said 19, 20. We're like, oh, come on. They'll blow that away by the first half of the season. Not happening.
I don't think so. So the good thing is I'll get to spend a lot of time over the next couple months in Golden One.
Why is that?
I had to do physical therapy on my shoulder. Had an MRI, no, lots of damage, no tears, so no surgery. But they want me to go to the Sports Medicine Center at Golden One.
Oh, cool!
With the King's doctors and do my rehab there.
Nice.
So I'll be in Golden One, being seen by the team officials and other people that work around.
Maybe you can get some interviews from players that are doing rehab right there.
Yeah, as we're both in pain.
Maybe when you're both sitting in the ice tub.
It's my shoulder. What would you lay it down in it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like naked towel talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Towel talk with Sports Talk 916. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever see any players there or not, but who knows? Maybe. But yeah, so the Kings are 7-13. They're only a game above Phoenix for the worst record in the Pacific Division.
What's Dallas's record?
Dallas is 4-15. Dallas has the second worst record in all of basketball.
Behind
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are 4-16.
So we could have lost to both the Sixers and the Mavs this road trip.
Well, we could still lose to the Mavs.
I know.
We still have a chance for that.
Yeah.
Booger and filler for Clay, Looney, and McCaw. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know that the Kings are going to want to trade Boogie. I mean, you know, I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking about it, and for some reason, I think that they may be able to get him to resign here. He can make the most money here. He has a chance, and I think this kind of goes back on DeMarcus's mentality, and this is going back on everything I've been saying, by the way. So,
me too.
I'm fully admitting to this. I honestly think that he's selfish enough in a way. It goes along with his loyalty, but I think he's egotistical enough in a way that he wants to be that in the same light as the Chris Webber was when the Kings rebounded and became prominable in the league again. And I think DeMarcus wants to be that guy where people look at him, even if he doesn't win a championship in his career,
He's not going to.
they can look at him and go, you know what? He stuck it out in Sacramento. He tried his best to turn this team around. He was a multi-time All-Star. He was the best player on the team. He's the best player in franchise history as far as like stats goes, because he's ultimately going to pass everybody. You know, he's an Olympic gold medal winner multiple times. You know, his loyalty and his legacy comes from Sacramento. And I think he's okay with that. Like, obviously, he wants to win championships. And I think he wants to be, should they be able to win a championship here, which I don't think it's going to happen unless Vivek just starts payrolling the shit out of everybody,
Yeah.
is he wants that opportunity to be like, look, DeMarcus Cousins was the focal point that brought a legacy to Sacramento that supersedes the team that got so close to winning a championship. And I think that will be enough that he stays here. I don't think he wants to be in the limelight of a big city. I think he likes being low-key, kind of under the radar.
I think he does too. I think the problem is, and what we've talked about, is what he wants and what he says is one thing, and what he does is a whole different story. And what he does is he's not changing his game. You know, we've talked about this 100 times. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So he goes out and says, I want to stay here. I want to be the one that brings, success back to Sacramento. I want to be the big guy. And then he goes, dribbling the ball off his foot as he drives to the basket from the top of the key.
Yeah. But I wonder too if right now, aside from Gay going up and down, like Gay's been playing really good, but he's had a couple off nights. I wonder if Boogie looks at this and goes, I don't trust anyone else on this team to have the ball.
I'm sure he doesn't.
And I think he's taken it upon himself to try to win games. And
so do you think that if we had John Wall and he trusted him, that he would quit playing that way?
I think if we had John Wall, I think if we had Isaiah Thomas back, someone that he trusts as a point guard. Because let's face it, I don't think he has any faith in Collison.
No.
I don't think he has any faith in any of our two guards, Lost in anybody.
Well, he shouldn't.
I think the only person he has faith with on this entire team is Matt Barnes. For some reason, those two have gotten along great. They've been buddies. Oh, and side note, anyone that was giving him and Barnes shit for their little video that they put on Instagram after the Philly game of drinking the Hennessy, waiting 3 hours for their flight to make it from New York because the game got postponed.
They're adults.
They're adults, and they had an off day the next day.
Yeah.
Who cares? Let them be adults.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Bringing in Wall would require at least $200 million. Fuck it, pay him. Rosa, last week you said Boogie was changing his game. Check the tape.
I know I did, but then I watched the game again, and for 2 weeks he wasn't driving to the hoop. He was keeping his head up. He was staying in control. In the last two games that I've watched, he's dribbled the ball off his foot 3 times. So, I just call it like I see it. Shut up, Heinz.
Heinz says it's not the money. What are the pieces to get him? And he's talking about getting Wall. You can't take a chance to get nothing for him. His maximum value is trading now. I think what you have to do, and I think what they have to do really is sit DeMarcus down and start talking. They have to start talking contract for next season extension, because they have to judge him, on a level where they literally have to sit down and get a feel for what's going on, or get a verbal commitment from him. You got a chunk of bacon at the bottom. Yeah. They have to judge him to the point where it's like, okay, is it safe? Do we have a verbal commitment from him that says, hey, you're going to get a max deal at the new level when the season's over, because we can extend you now, or we can give you more next year when you're in your final year of contract, and then start to go from there. But if he gives any indication, I'm not re-signing here, they need to do one of two things at that point. One, they need to move him. But two, they need to keep off social fucking media and don't let that leak, because then he has trade value like me and you have.
Right.
And that's zero. So, they... God damn it. They really need to get their shit together. They need to start planning. If DeMarcus is part of the future, they need to figure it out now if they're going to extend him and then build around him.
Boy, that's something we've never said. The Kings need to get their shit together.
Right? We should probably record that.
Yeah.
We could probably save ourselves a lot of time just by hitting a loop of that every time we talk Kings. The Kings need to get their shit together. Kind of like this.
A fucking punter!
You know what I mean? Like,
still the greatest drop of all time.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to say anything. Just, okay, there you go. Veronki is a DB. Who the fuck is Veronki?
It's somebody trying to be funny.
It's Bellingham, but who's Veronki?
He's calling me Baronki.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the hell that means, but
I don't
whatever.
either, but that's him.
Let's see. What's next on the docket? I said we're going to talk Kings. Oh, yeah. We already talked about December 15th. They lost the game today. Cool. We're going to talk Giants when we come back.
Cool.
Hey, guys. Greg here.
And Sheena, too.
We just wanted to take a minute of your time to tell you about this awesome local company who has helped us tremendously in the obstacle course racing world.
Seriously, we get banged up enough on these courses, and these products have saved us on many obstacles.
When Sheena and I were getting prepared for our first Spartan race last year, we found the original Warrior Pack and bought some of their gear. After a couple races, we loved their products so much, it was a no-brainer for us to join their race team.
Yeah, and we just completed another run at AT&T Park and finished blister-free thanks to their gloves. I wore the full finger gloves and didn't even break a nail.
You are such a girl. Anyways, guys, go to originalwirepack.com and check out their stuff for all of your OCR needs. And don't forget to use code ST916 for 10% off all of your purchases. Again, that's www.originalwarriorpack.com. Pack is spelled P-A-K for all of your OCR needs.
Hey, man, what's up with the studio? It looks so much cleaner than the last time. I know I haven't been here in a week or so, but what the hell happened?
You know, I just got tired of cleaning it myself, so I finally gave Crandall's Cleaning Service a call. They came out. Looks like this.
Damn, they did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, they're amazing. Fully licensed staff came out, gave me a quick estimate, knocked it out in a couple hours, and they're going to come back on a monthly service.
What, are they going to do the rest of the house, or that couple hours just cover the office?
A couple hours cover the office. That's all I had them quote for. But they do whole houses. They do offices. They do home stagings. They do everything.
Cool.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you want your house clean, give them a call, 916-952-3620. Ask for Nick. Let them know Sports Talk 916 sent you. Like I said, they'll come out. They'll give you a special quote. They'll do monthly, bi-weekly, weekly, whatever it is you need for all your cleaning needs. They're fully licensed and insured. They'll take care of you the right way.
Sweet. I'm calling tomorrow.
Awesome. Remember, that's Crandall's Cleaning Service, 916-952-3620. All right, let's talk about the San Francisco Giants. Winter meetings start tomorrow, and rumor has it that, unlike last year, the Niners... God damn it. The Giants are going to...
Be players
with no concern of payroll, and they're going to be aggressive in the opening nights. And the reason for that is because they need to get rid of their hole and closer. Their hole and closer position. Santiago Casilla is not going to be back. And right now, rumor has it that the Giants... I keep saying 49ers. What is wrong with me?
I think you have them on your mind.
The Giants are looking at 3 guys. Just went blank on 2 of them, or 1 of them.
Well, Melanson.
Who?
Or what's his name? Is it Melanson?
I don't know. Mark Melancon, who's from the Nationals.
Melanson, that's how you say his name.
Melancon I like better. Melanson, Aroldis Chapman, and 1 other that the Giants are considering to be players on. Melanson is, getting interest from a couple players.
They said that there's basically 3 teams in the running. One was the Nationals. I think the other one was the Braves, and
Greg Holland was another one they're looking at as well. Melanson, I mean, he had a good year. I mean, obviously
he was one of the ones there was a lot of talk about at the trade deadline this year.
They were trying to move him to Pittsburgh for McCutchen.
Right.
So the chances of that happening, I don't know. But regular season, he pitched in 75 games. He had 47 saves in 71 innings. Gave up 3 home runs, 12 walks, 65 strikeouts. He was 2-2 with 4 blown saves. In the playoffs, he had 4 opportunities. He had
that
one
was a
save.
week's worth of work for Casilla.
Right? I mean,
4 blown saves.
If Casilla could have blown a save in more than one game, he probably would have somehow last year.
Right.
So let me ask you this: Melanson or Chapman? Do you throw a boatload of money at Chapman? I mean, if you think about it, he's if you look at comparison to 2010, we already kind of had a Chapman in the closer role, and it worked out well.
Man.
We had Brian Wilson, who was erratic,
Right.
who threw 100-mile-per-hour pitches. He was predictable. You knew what was coming. You just had to hit it,
And you couldn't.
which you couldn't. He had a temper. You started to freak out a little bit when he let 2 guys on, but then he really battened down the hatches. He didn't cost what Chapman's going to cost.
No.
But at this point, the Giants had that condominium we talked about a couple months ago going up. They've already made it clear that money's not going to be an issue. They have to compete. They're going to have to spend money. I think one thing that Chapman has going for him, regardless of the 100-mile-per-hour fastball and the 77-mile-per-hour slider that he throws, that change of pace, is he's a lefty.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of lefty closers that just throw a fireball.
Well, you don't see many left-handed pitchers that throw that fast.
Right.
Either.
So do you make him priority 1 and then go after Melanson afterwards, or do you bring in one and just hope for it? I mean, they re-signed Guerin, they re-signed Will Smith. They've signed a few of their guys in the back end of the bullpen already. Do you throw all your money at them?
I think you have to throw your money at somebody. You have to get one of those 2 guys. It's imperative. I mean, that was. I think you could even leave the rest of the lineup set, and
you do not trade Arroyo or Beatty. You leave them both in the farm system. That is the
Yeah.
future of your pitching staff right there, James, and especially not for JD Martinez. I mean, Martinez is a great pitcher, but I don't think you give up Tyler Beatty or Arroyo at this point.
although those guys are going to at some point going to have to start proving themselves and start making a presence at the big league level. They've been around long enough now. They've had 3 or 4 years in the minor system. They're going to have to start making a showing or a presence at spring training this year.
Sorry, yeah, Martinez is the left fielder. That's my fault. We're gonna get the left field in a second. I have him written down as an option, but no, I don't think you give up those 2 pitchers for a lefty left fielder.
Yeah, so those guys are going to have to start showing, or maybe you do start thinking about trading them because maybe they aren't going to work out. Your pitching staff isn't deep enough to stash those guys for 2 or 3 more years. They have another year or so before they got to start making an appearance at the big league level, or they need to be gone.
Wow. So I'm looking at who wrote this. Grant Brisby of McCovey Chronicle. He ranks his top 10 closers as this, and this blows my mind. What? This guy is fucking stupid. Top 10 closers. Back of the envelope. Maybe he's going backwards? Because he has Jansen 1, Melanson 3rd, 2nd, Greg Holland 3rd, Brad Ziegler, Koji Urea, Santiago Casilla, Jonathan Papelbon, Edwin Jackson, Tim Morrell, Vin Aroldis Chapman 10th. He's saying back of the envelope. He's got to mean going backwards, right?
I don't know.
10-1. Giants officials have met this week with reps for closers Aroldis Chapman, Kenley Jansen, and Mark Melanson. Says Major League Baseball. Let's see. The part about Chapman, so if you're looking for some more high ground, whatever, you're all going to die. Anyways, the Giants will consider anyone and everyone who prevent them from repeating their season-ending and division-losing debacle. We haven't had time to reflect just how bad the bullpen really was, but more I think about it, the more I'm pretty sure that I rate the Giants' bullpen performance last year as bad to really bad. We'll need more time to make sure, though. What do you need more time?
What do you need more time? It's like saying the 49ers are
good to
could be bad.
Yeah,
could be
they
bad.
might be. They might be.
We got to think about it a little bit more that they might suck.
This might be the worst 49ers team ever. Yeah, come on now. Like I said, do you throw all your money? 40-7 final score. Chickens over Panthers. Do you go after Melanson, save some money over Chapman?
I don't think you save money. Period.
No,
you don't. You don't. You're not saving a dime. You're throwing money at everybody. You have to. You have to. Buster doesn't have that much longer. I mean, he's right now in the prime of his career. He's going to be, heading on the downhill slope here pretty soon.
Well, when he starts on that slope, though, like officially on that slope, you're going to see Buster Posey move to first base.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that'll milk another 8 years out of him.
Oh, he's got plenty of time.
Right.
It's just he's not going to be Buster for that much longer.
He wasn't Buster last year.
But he was hurt all last year.
Yeah, he was pretty banged up.
He was hurt.
So the Giants are going to be aggressive after closers. I don't think they have to worry about a fifth starter. I think his name always skips my fucking mind. Ty Block. I think he secured that with his performance
so
end of the
too.
year.
And you still have Heston that spent all year in Sacramento.
Yep. And then you have Arroyo. You have, we mentioned Beatty. They're both going to start in Double-A. They're not going to move up to Triple-A yet because they don't want to fast track them to the major. They're not going to try. They're not going to put them in a position in Triple-A where they have to be rushed to Major League Baseball should there be an injury. Basically, what I was reading about the Giants and their farm system is they want to be as slow with those two as possible because they're still developing arms, but they're on the fast track progression wise, but they're not trying to fast track them to the Giants roster. And I think that's smart because I think they kind of got a little crazy with the success they had bringing up Lincecum and Bumgarner and Kane. Those guys were such a splash in the pan immediately,
right?
That I think they got a little bit crazy with Heston, and they got a little bit crazy with a few other guys that they.
Well, they made a lot of. There's been a lot of guys in and out of the rotation that didn't work out that were supposed to. So
why do I keep thinking? You know what I'm thinking? Bronson Arroyo for some reason. James is on top of my ass right now. Arroyo is the minor league shortstop. Dude, I've read so much. I read so much Giant shit today trying to prepare for tonight that everyone's jumbling up. The reason why Arroyo is important to not fast track is because they still have arbitration availability on Nunez, and there's talks that they may groom Arroyo to switch to third base should they not keep Nunez. And I think you got to keep Eduardo Nunez. He's a hell of a third baseman. Yeah. He's a great base stealer when he's healthy. He's a very good bat.
I wonder how healthy he was last year.
He had that hamstring at the end of the year. Yeah. I mean, if you looked at him in the playoffs, I don't know why Bochy even had him on the active roster. You pinch hit him, and he couldn't run a ball down.
Right.
Put Nunez in left field. I think Arroyo right now is going to be dependent on Nunez's arbitration deal. They're going to give him a 1-year deal, and then that'll be the determining factor. The talks right now is that they may not even look for a left fielder. Bochy and Sabian both have said that they're comfortable letting Mac Williamson and Jarrett Parker battle it out for left field. Mm-hmm. If those two don't pan out, there's talks internally that they could sign a center fielder and move Denard Span to left field.
I actually kind of like that idea.
So do I. Span's getting a little bit older. You don't necessarily need him in center if you can get another center fielder out there.
Problem is, he doesn't have
legs.
an arm. He's got no arm at all.
Left field's the shortest throw in AT&T Park.
Yeah,
though.
but still, I mean,
the other talk right now. I mean, let me ask you this then: if you have Span in center field and the ball gets hit into Triple's alley, would you rather him throwing that ball or one that hit in the corner and left?
Yeah, good point.
He's arbitration eligible for 2019, but I think as that position goes up in value, I don't think you're going to see him. He's getting a little bit older as far as third baseman's legs go, especially with the hamstring history he's had.
Well, we could solve that.
We're talking about Nunez, so
we could solve that.
I could see him then giving him one more year and moving him on. I think that was one of the smartest moves that they made last year was getting rid of Duffy, considering that Achilles he had, and it ended up doing his season. So I think that was like you got to get that to Dave Greshner on that one. Like, he's like, hey, this might be a problem. Let's get him out of here while we can.
Well, and then there was news that broke earlier this week or last week that they might have that third base problem all solved anyway.
With who? Oh, that's right. We didn't get to talk about that.
No.
It was on my list last week, or we might have. Yeah, we did talk about it.
Did we talk about it? Yeah, we did. Yeah,
bring Pablo back.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, let's not do that. Unless, like I said, unless you can eat 80 to 85% of that contract, then you bring him back for cheap. You give him a chance to get skinnier. I almost said skinny. He was never skinny.
No.
Yeah, so the Giants are, there's talks. There's also talks that they may be willing to trade Samardzija if needed. And then that apparently, and I find this hard to believe, but there's been some rumblings that Matt Cain may have some trade value. He's in the last year of his deal, $22 million, and then there's a team option next year. He may be a tradable piece.
I wonder if he's got value to go into the bullpen and be a closer.
I don't think he has the stuff to be a closer. I think he needs.
He's got 4 pitches, and there's not a lot of closers that have 4 pitches.
I can see Cain more of a setup guy, simply for the fact, like a 7th, 8th inning guy, simply for the fact that you can put him in the pen and warm him up longer.
But guys like Smoltz didn't have closer stuff, and they were successful.
But the narrative that I've read on Cain, and that was why they didn't use him too much out of the pen last year, is he takes a long time to warm up.
Oh, does he?
So if you don't have him in like that, if you know he's going to be a 7th, 8th inning guy, you get him up and he starts throwing in the 5th. Like, he's eventually going to come in.
Right.
Closer role, you may have a 9-run lead, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, it's down to 2. Cain, get up. He may not warm up quick enough. Now, obviously that could change. He may be able to figure out a way to fast track his warm up, but he's getting older, so it's probably going to take him longer to warm up than it would have, in years past. So that one's kind of crazy.
You like the word fast track tonight, don't you?
Yeah, it's on my calendar, my podcast phrase of the day calendar.
That's yeah.
I think you'd be better off paying Sandoval with plates of spaghetti and meatballs, says TJ. I heard he likes lobster. That's why he went.
I heard he likes Big Macs.
Ooh, I love Big Macs. You see the rest in peace creator of the Big Mac. He died this week.
Yep.
I read that for the last 50 years he's had at least one Big Mac a week.
Really?
Yes.
No wonder he died.
No, that guy's my hero. I fucking love Big Macs.
No wonder he died.
You see they were coming out with a double Big Mac?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I haven't had a Big Mac in 25 years.
You need to have one. It's so
No.
good. And then you get an extra side of Big Mac sauce to dip your french fries in.
You mean Thousand Island dressing?
There's a secret to it.
Yeah, it's Thousand Island dressing. That's the secret.
With onion or pickles.
What do you think the islands are in Thousand Island dressing?
They add something else to it. But
salt.
Yeah, right. No, you dip your french fries in. You ever done that?
No.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, I have at In-N-Out.
Right? With their secret sauce.
With their secret Thousand Island dressing.
Oh, man.
And they put onions in it.
Right. They copied off McDonald's, by the way. Yeah, so that's the Giants. I am so glad that baseball's back. I mean,
it really has. It just got over with.
Yeah, but it's back.
I think I read, what is it? We're 60-something days away from the start of spring training.
I can tell you right now. I have that website, Spring Training Timer, or whatever the hell it's called. Spring Training.
Did you hear the big news about the Hall of Fame?
No.
Our buddy Bud Selig got elected to the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, speaking of Bud Selig, we didn't get to talk about this.
That just happened this week.
Major League Baseball has decided that the All-Star Game no longer will dictate home field advantage throughout the World Series.
That's awesome. Where's our sound guy? There should be like a clapping or something going on with that. It's too late now. You missed it.
Spring training, 70 days, 8 minutes, and 20 seconds away. February 13th, 2017. Happy Valentine's Day. So there's that. Are you excited that winter meetings are here?
I am because it's kind of a dry time in sports. Football season's starting to wind down, but
I mean,
basketball season's
football season for us is done.
Yeah. And basketball season's kind of in the dog days right now, where it's really nothing important going on.
You notice I'm wearing my Raiders colors today?
So, we were supposed to talk about that too, about you flipping again.
Flipped.
Well, your top 5 reasons, that was going to be our top 5 list, and I didn't do it.
Top 5
reasons to quit being a 49er fan.
Oh, bulky.
Bulky,
Kaepernick.
bulky.
Balky, Kaepernick, York, Levi Stadium,
And a fucking punter.
and that guy.
Fucking punter!
There you go, top 5.
Yep.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the 49ers. So
Oh,
stay
boy.
tuned. Hey, Sports Talk 916 listeners, listen up. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the greater Sacramento area, then there's only one person that you should be calling. It's someone that you listen to every single week for sports advice, and it's time you listen to him for real estate advice as well. Give Greg Veroza of Keller Williams Realty a call, and he will hook you up with all the information you need. Give him a call at his office at 916-241-8068. I did it. My family did it. It was a great experience. Very seamless. Greg's very accommodating, and he'll find you the right home for you. So give him a call. You won't regret it. 916-241-8068. Greg Veroza of Keller Williams Realty. And tell him Sports Talk 916 sent you.
Hey folks, Albert Chavez here again. Hey, listen, with all the changes in the election and with rates, I got a lot of folks calling me about the market. If you have any questions about purchasing a home or refinancing or just want to talk to someone in general, my number is 916-230-1537.
And there will also be a link at sportstalk916.com. Go to our sponsors and affiliates page, click on Albert's banner, and it'll take you right to his website with all of his contact information. It is now time for bingo.
Was that a bingo?
Bingo! A bingo!
Bingo!
I've got a bingo!
Bingo!
Bingo! Bingo!
Or bullshit. All right, Greg Veroza, bingo or bullshit. After reports that his relationship with the 49ers have improved and reports that he's planning on opting out to test free agency, Colin Kaepernick.
Are you all right?
No, that was a very pukey burp. Oh. You know, I was talking about Kaepernick. I started getting sick because I'm reading ahead. I know what this is about to say. Colin Kaepernick will re-sign with the 49ers and try a full season under Chip Kelly's system.
You guys are going to be blown away by my answer. Bingo.
Bingo!
If the 49er, it's obvious they're going to get the first or second pick. If Cleveland somehow can find a way to win a game, then we'll get the first pick. If not, we have the second pick. There's not a quarterback in the draft this year.
Mel Kiper's board came out this week, and the highest ranked quarterback is 12th.
Yeah.
And that's out of North Carolina.
Yeah. There's not a franchise quarterback out there this year that really is going to be good. With all the holes that they need, the Niners need to do one of a couple of things. They either need to use their entire draft to bolster up their offensive line, their running back core, every position but the quarterback, because there's good players out there in every position.
They need to shore up that defense too.
Well, I mean,
This
they
is
need
a
to
very defensive heavy draft coming up.
right, and there's also some good defensive linemen. The problem with drafting defense in the past, they've drafted shitty linebackers that are hurt.
Oh, they draft quarterbacks and safeties. That's all they have. Jaquiski Tart,
Yeah.
Eric Reed, fucking other guys.
Actually, they've been pretty good with linebackers.
Yeah.
So I would like to see him get that draft pick and trade it, and get 2 or 3 second and third round picks, and grab some top level linemen, some defensive backs, some running backs, or wide receiver or two, and stay away from the quarterback position.
Wide receiver were 5.
Yeah, 5. Somebody that can actually catch the ball. And stay away from the quarterback and suck again next year.
Right.
And basically do a 76ers.
They need to fire Balky first.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, he needs to go today. The headlines tomorrow morning need to be, Jed York called in Balky and said, "Sorry, dude, you're done."
I pulled up the file you've had saved on your laptop. The naked pictures actually aren't of me.
Yeah.
You asshole.
Yeah, get
You're
out of here.
fired.
Get out of here. I mean, today's performance was just embarrassing. The Bears suck.
The weather aside, it was just terrible.
But it was bad for the Bears, too.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's like the deflated football. You know,
Yeah.
Luck had a chance to throw the deflated ball too. And
yeah, it's so you know and I talked to Bellingham Niners fan today a little bit, and he had some good points. He brought up some good players, and we both agreed that next year's quarterback draft could possibly be one of the top quarterback drafts of all time,
Browning.
with Browning and a couple other guys that are going to come out next year. So I think what you do is you stockpile draft picks, you trade a couple of picks away, especially that first or second pick. Somebody's going to want them, or you draft some kind of stud running back or lineman or defensive back. There's a couple of good defensive linemen that are out there, pass rushers. You know, that's a strength, but we really don't have a pass rusher.
Based on Bellingham Niner fans' last message, bingo or bullshit that 49ers need to fire Chip Kelly.
I just can't do it yet. Bullshit.
And I agree. They do not need to fire Chip. Here's the deal. They can't have 3 coaches on payroll. It just doesn't make sense for them right now. They have Kelly on a 3-year or 4-year contract. You essentially hired this guy to be your offensive juggernaut coach. You said, hey, we believe in your system. We want it to work. You get Gabbert or Kaepernick, but Kaepernick's coming off multiple injuries. He's a shell of himself. He lost a lot of weight. He lost a lot of muscle. He couldn't do anything for X amount of months. Good luck. And
Gabbert shit.
And then you go, oh, and by the way, you have Torrey Smith and Vance McDonald as your only options on offense.
As receivers.
We'll grab Curley from Detroit, but he's 80.
Right.
I mean, he's been the only shining spot.
And you got no running backs.
Quentin Patton's Then you have Rod Streeter, Carlos Hyde is a shell of himself.
Yeah.
And then you have Drone and Mike Davis.
And oh, by the way, we just lost 3 of our best offensive linemen to free agency.
Right. And then one of them that came back who was a shining spot decided to retire again.
Yeah.
How can you even judge Chip Kelly on the season? You can't. When you come to the report card at the end of the year, it's got to be inconclusive because you cannot hire a guy and then go, good luck. We know what you need, but we're not going to give you any of it.
Right.
If anything, Kelly keeping calm and keeping his poise and doing what he's doing is a testament that says, hey, look, I'm the right coach. I'm not stomping my feet and running out of buildings. I'm not taking blame, or I'm taking blame still, even though it's not my fault. It's basically a roast of Balky at this point.
Oh yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm being professional. All the rumors about me going back to Oregon, I'm debunking. I'm not leaving. This is my team. I want to coach here. And not only that, but Kelly has done the 49ers a favor in a sense. One is they were able, because of his persistence with Kaepernick, they're able to restructure the contract to get him to play because Kelly wanted him to play. That saved the Niners a ton of money and heartache.
Right.
Because he might have been out of injury guarantee. They've allowed Kaepernick to play. And, all criticism of Kaepernick aside, he does look good aside from the first couple of games and this week in Kelly's system. The read option's back. He looks fine running it. He's been throwing the ball, but he doesn't have a receiver that can catch the ball. I'm starting to feel that acid reflux again as I'm giving Kaepernick credit.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't need him to win games. You need him to just play in games. And that's what they need to do next year is just play games. And, if they go 3-13 or they go 4-12, that'll give them a good enough draft pick to where they can get a stud quarterback. If they draft right this year, they're going to have an offensive line, the building blocks of an offensive line that's going to protect them. That's why I say you go with offensive linemen in your draft to build that up. So next year when you have that stud quarterback, you have somebody to protect him.
Right.
Right now, you don't have anything.
10-minute warning. He says BS, that was Alex Smith not to win games, but Smith won games. But that's neither here nor there. He says, but now they will spend the next 3 years drafting chip-type players and flounder, then can his ass and hire a new coach and need different players. Here's the deal. If you get Kelly the right players, I don't think he flounders. I think he does okay. Look back at Philly. He didn't do bad in Philly. It's just, they started to lose players. They lost players of free agency. They made bonehead front office decisions, and they canned him, and he was the scapegoat in Philly. I think you have to ride the Kaepernick ship if he comes back one more year. Or what you do, like I said last week, is you back up a Brinks truck to someone like Kirk Cousins' house and say, hey, we're going to put all of our chips in an established quarterback, and if it doesn't work out, then we're going to go back to Kaepernick, or we're going to stick with Gabbert, and we're going to play for a franchise quarterback next year. Bear with us, trust the process, whatever you want to do.
That's what you have to do.
Unless you can get that quarterback.
I don't think you're going to get, because I think Washington
they're going to franchise him.
They're going to franchise him. So
But I'm saying, but you look at other quarterbacks that may be available. Like, unless you could get that quarterback in free agency, you take what you're dealt and you move on and you see what happens.
I'm not a big fan of getting somebody's backup that's now a franchise or a free agent. I mean, look at all these quarterbacks. Look at Osweiler. Look at
but Cousins has proven himself to
has, but you're not going to get him.
Right.
It's going to cost you $16 million and some huge draft choices, and it's not worth it.
That's true. But we'll see what happens with that. Let's see. We'll move along with Bingo or Bullshit. Bingo or Bullshit. This Raiders season, regardless of how it ends in the playoffs, will be the saving grace to keep the Raiders in Oakland. Now, before you answer, if you need more backstory to this question, the NFL basically, there's reports coming out now that the NFL is going to use its muscles essentially to help sway the lesser owners to keep the team here. They don't want to see him move. They think the market is better here than it is in Vegas, regardless of what Mark Davis wants to do. Now that there's a new infrastructure in place to potentially have a deal in Oakland for a new stadium, do you think that the way the Raiders are playing right now has flexed the hand of the NFL to go, hey, you know what? They're finally playing good. They have a team built. These fans deserve it. We're not going to let this team leave.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Bingo.
And I saw a story the other day where it gave a breakdown of a potential breakdown of financing for a stadium, and it included the NFL putting in a big chunk. The chunk that Oakland was required to put in, County of Alameda, wasn't that big. It had a little bit coming. It had some coming from this Ronnie Lott group that's coming out, and
a lot of it's coming from the Ronnie Lott group.
And a little bit coming from Davis. And Davis, I also heard told Ronnie Lott, okay, if you can give me the financing and you can get a deal done, we'll stay.
Right.
And I think maybe one of the few things that Davis learned from Daddy is you go out and find somebody that's willing. What are you looking for?
No, you're good. You're good.
Go out and find somebody that's willing to build a stadium and use them as leverage if you don't want to go there. Just find somebody.
Yeah.
Find Irwindale. Find somebody in LA. Find somebody that's going to be willing to pony up some money for a stadium. Fuck them over so that you can get the stadium that you want.
Speaking of LA, the Chargers are expected to opt into the LA deal starting next season.
Are they?
Yep. So San Diego pretty much screwed the pooch on that.
Well, yeah, their ballot initiative didn't pass at all.
Keeping with the Raiders, with a long playoff run, the Raiders will have Coach of the Year in Jack Del Rio, GM of the Year in Reggie McKenzie, and Offensive MVP in Derek Carr.
I'd say 2 out of the 3. So it's a big go.
Bingo.
There you go.
I think Carr's having a great year. I think Prescott's having a better year in Dallas, and I think he's the odds-on favorite.
They don't do an AL or they don't do an AFC NFC MVP offense. They do Player of the Year. I should have said not MVP.
Yeah, okay.
Offensive Player of the Year in AFC.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there's really not a whole lot of people out there. You can't give it to Brady. He didn't play the first 4 games.
They can give it to Brady though because they have a stick
Brady.
up their ass for Brady, but.
As far as MVP, and that's where I thought you were going.
That's just misspoken on my part.
I think Prescott's the odds-on favorite. Not that he's really having that much better of a year, but if you have somebody that's having an equal performance and he's a Cowboy, he's going to win.
And then TJ says bingo and Defensive Player of the Year in Khalil Mack.
Now that is a slam dunk right there.
So the Raiders essentially could clean sweep it.
He's a beast.
I was driving Uber the other night and we were talking about this with some guy.
Although there's another person that had a pretty good game today that could be giving Khalil Mack a run for his money, and that's Eric Berry.
Oh, you see how fast that fucker was on that pick 2?
Yeah.
Which ended up winning the game again.
Right. And he's got a. I mean, Mac's got a good story.
But Barry has a heart-touching story.
Yeah,
too.
Barry's got a story that's going to get him votes. So
Right.
unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, and finally, Bingo.
What was you were talking about? You started talking about Uber.
Oh, some guy in Uber the other night was like, "Oh, the Raiders are going to be in trouble. They get Aldon Smith back, but Khalil Mack just got suspended the rest of the year for a substance violation." And I was like, "Oh, really?" Like I bought it. I haven't heard it. I thought maybe it was something that just came through. And I'm watching the game today. He's playing. I'm like, "Okay, that guy was drunk. Like, what the fuck?" Pretty sure I would have heard that. Bellingham Niner fan doesn't think that Mack's going to win Defensive Player of the Year because Von Miller has 12 or more sacks this year.
I think it's going to be Eric Berry.
Yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be.
Or it could be that guy from San Diego that's got a shitload of interceptions too.
Yeah. Who knows?
So I think,
But the
odds
three
on
I mentioned,
I think the odds-on favorite is it's going to come out of the AFC West.
yeah, agreed. Finally, getting out of football with a strong showing, minus a couple bad holes and the final round today. Tiger Woods will be a common contender in 2017.
Now I didn't see one swing to this weekend at all.
I did. I watched a little bit.
I saw a couple highlights. I think he could have been a contender, Mick. Yeah, I think he'll be a contender.
Bingo.
I don't think he'll be a contender at majors, but I think he'll be a contender at other.
So in watching him play in the opening round before he had that meltdown in the final four holes, it looked like old Tiger. Like his swing was fluid. He was in shape again. He was walking around good. Like he was joking with the media. He was having a good time to the point where you're like, wow. Like before a couple of his comebacks, he looked stiff and he looked like he was having a horrible time. And some of his short game shots and things like that, you're like, damn. Like he took how much time off of golf?
Right.
So, not knowing the background to it, you would think, damn it, that's Tiger Woods. And it was nice to see because regardless of how he plays, just seeing his name on the leaderboard
Oh, that's cool.
anywhere, it's good to see because otherwise you're like, okay, McIlroy, Rory, Dustin Johnson, maybe
Jordan
Phil, Spieth, and then you're like, who?
Yeah.
Who? All the way down. It was nice.
Well, I have to admit, this is the first golf. I had some updates come across my phone, and I still have updates all the time. This is the first tournament that I actually paid attention to the golf updates that came across. So
Right.
And I think that's the power of Tiger.
Yep, absolutely. So the only thing we have left to talk about on the show is 49ers and the Raiders. We kind of talked about both of them. We have a minute 30 left in the Mixler hour. Anything else you want to talk about? There was a pay-per-view for WWE tonight.
Oh boy!
But unfortunately, there was no
Lesnar.
Was there a Bill Goldberg?
No, this was a SmackDown show.
We've bitched about the Kings. We bitched about the 49ers.
We got happy about the Giants.
We didn't talk about the A's, but there's really nothing to talk about.
Well, Barnbaugh mentioned the A's. He said, "Are the A's going to be busy in spring or in winter meetings, or are they going to focus on getting a single-use stadium?"
I don't think anybody knows right now
And
because they have a whole new leadership.
I honestly think that they are going to be. I think they're going to be active when it comes to the fact that the new front office the new leadership of the front office is going to try to be aggressive to change the culture. And I think the back end is going to be handled behind the scenes, the whole stadium thing. I think it's going to come down to how much the county of Alameda has to put in for the Raiders stadium before Oakland gets a deal.
Right. And, I think, unfortunately, the Raiders are the first priority for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. I find that we might have to talk about that next week. But 5 seconds left, guys. We're going to wrap the show tonight. Now, how did Greg Swimmers do? They did well.
Yeah, they did good.
For Greg, I'm Greg. We'll
Good
see
night,
you guys
Larry.
next week. Woohoo.